Hello from Chicago again. I'm here with my next guest for our podcast called Successful on Purpose. This is Eni Edwards. I'm a Saladmaster dealer based in Chicago. And I've done an interview with my guest in Madrid almost a year ago. But I think situations have changed, and I just had a need to interview him one more time. So I will let himself introduce himself. So go ahead, Mark.
Well, firstly, Eni, I have to say I love the series of interviews that you are doing. Very engaging. So if you've not seen her interviews, don't just watch this one, watch the others. They are amazing. But as for an introduction, as I've said before on this, I'm Mark Jones. I serve as the Senior Vice President of Saladmaster for the West, which includes Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Canada, and the Americas.
The both Americas, North and South America. So your responsibility tripled, quadrupled since I talked to you. So it's a little bit different energy this time. But I think with this responsibility, you have that sense of that not only responsibility, but sense of changing lives inside of our Saladmaster family more than outside. Yeah, so you are in charge of keeping dealers happy, keeping all the regions going well, and meeting their numbers and and training and all that stuff. When I went to visit your region in UK, I went to European LCE Life Changing event in UK last year. I'm like, yes, and I'm like, wow, this is different. This is different than what we have in US, in our Eagle division, which covers North and South America. And I'm like, wow, this is very different. I would love to see more of this. And when there was an announcement that Mark was promoted to our West Regional Senior Vice President, I'm like,
thank you, Eni.
Thank you, please. And I told Mark when I saw him next time, I'm like, Mark, make sure that we see what you do in Europe. We want to see it in our region, which is North and South America. And I'm not saying that our previous leaders, previous sales directors, previous trainers and mentors were not good or anything, but it's just a very different style and approach of stuff. And I like when you put everything in very specific points and very specific steps, because sales is different depending on the market, depending on the product, depending on the business. It's very different. But to be successful in any business, you have to be super good in sales. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, you have to master the skill of selling. So selling yourself, selling your product, selling your business, selling whatever, but you have to master it. So how did you master your sales skills?
Well, there's a couple of things. I'll just go back a second. Talking about, I'm really honored to be serving over the Americas, and there's some great practices here. And I think what happens, and we are all guilty in a good way of doing it, when you hear new information from someone, it's always magnifies. So when I hear things from over the US, I'm like, wow, you're hearing things that I do over there. You're like, wow. And there's a saying in the Bible, it says, a prophet is never honored in their own hometown. The people around who hear them all the time go, oh, I've heard that before.
Same thing,
Somebody else hears it and they go, wow. But there's some great things happening on both sides of the pond, and I think it's just falling upon new ears. And I love your last part. To be successful in business, sales. I learned this quote a long time ago. It said, show me a country with no salespeople, and I will show you a country of a poor standard of living. Everything is sold. That jacket you have on, this microphone, the chair, and selling is just about it's solving a problem. Solving a problem. We needed to be seated here. Someone solved the problem, designed the chair. So it's a great profession. I advise everybody on your journey to get into sales because you understand people. So your question was, what just reminded me, to how to become good at sales. I think the first thing being is in every area you said it, we're selling, whether we are, it doesn't matter whether you're a plumber or you're a carpenter, you're selling your services. And sales is about people and understanding the need and filling that gap. The biggest earners are solution solvers, and we solve solutions for problems in the health sector. That's what we do. A carpenter solves a problem of a need for, I don't know, furniture or something. Understanding people, loving people, and expressing yourself and your skill, and how are you going to add value? That's what selling is.
So what are the prime qualities of a good salesperson?
A good salesperson listens. There's that saying that says we have two
So
ears.
talk less and listen more.
There you go. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yes.
Listen twice as hard as you speak. So a good salesperson, no matter what your profession, you gotta listen to your client. Yeah, you gotta listen, understand them, and ask questions after that. After you've listened, dig a bit further. So what does that look like to you? What is it you want to achieve? And ask the right questions to find out the customer's real needs.
So sometimes we get caught up in, I have a jacket to sell, I have t-shirt to sell, I have pants to sell, and we are just so laser focused on selling that pants, we forget about our customer needs, yeah? So what if that customer needs certain type of pants, yeah? Certain type of shirt, certain type of shoes, like somebody who works in factory needs a shoes that has hard toes, yeah? So if something falls on their shoes, their feet doesn't get, damaged or get injured, yeah? So, but you don't know that when a person walks into the store, to the shoe store, you don't know that until you actually talk to that person.
Questions. You're going to take me down a road. I made a trip to China maybe 5 years ago. It was myself and a couple of colleagues, and we're in this fortunate enough to be blessed to win this trip, and we were in a very high standard hotel, and there were some local tailors outside, and I learned a big lesson here because it was on garments, and I learned that you have to sell the future, send the end result, and I'll explain. So this guy was harassing us to a certain extent, saying, do you want suit? I can make you suit.
I can make you
suit. I said, no, I've got many suits. And then he kept saying to me, we have. And then he stopped me. And he kept, every day, in, out, kept saying, no, suit, we make you suit. And then he said, sir, your shoulders are broad. And he goes, my suit will hang perfectly. I'll give you cashmere. When you walk in a room, everybody will stop and look at you. So this time, I don't walk out. I went, he said, the material of your stature, the suit will make you look important. I had my head up. And next minute, I had my arms out. He's measuring again.
Already doing his work.
And I bought 3 suits.
3 suits.
Because he sold me. He sold me on the idea that I'm going to look important. He sold me on the idea that my shoulders and my stature was perfect. The thing is, when I walked into the room, as he said, I will stop the room. I put the suit on, went back to England, and nobody looked at me. But he sold me on the end result. He sold
the
me.
Image, the confidence, that importance,
Absolutely.
and all that, we all need that validation all the time, from.
He took me to where I want to be. I want to be noticed in the room. He took me there. But I wasn't noticed.
But I think, anywhere in business or in the regular personal life, if you dress certain way, if you present yourself certain way, people talk to you differently, people address you differently, and people will treat you differently. Don't you think so? Even though we try to say we are all very neutral, it doesn't happen like that, yeah?
God judges you from the inside.
Yeah.
Man judges you from the outside.
Outside, yes,
so
yes.
you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So people will judge you if you are not dressed appropriately. And dress does have the ability to brand you. This person looks a certain class or a certain way.
Yes.
So it really does brand you.
Yes, yes. So we talked about today, we had 2 days of masterclass and mastermind meetup here in Chicago with our dealers and with our consultants. And you talked about being professional and being the man of your profession, being owner of your profession, and being the best of the best in your profession. Yeah? To make professional money, you have to be doing stuff that professionals do.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
what does it mean to do job well, and what does it mean to do job good?
If you're going to do something, give it everything you've got, because that's your signature. If you're going to be a cleaner, clean this table to the highest standard, no matter what you do. And being professional is mastering your craft, no matter what it is. If you clean shoes, if you wash cars, if you sell, and skill is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of repetitive practice. It doesn't matter what the simplicity of what you do is, hours and hours and hours of repetitive practice. Be the best and be proud that
Yes.
you are the best in whatever you do.
Yeah. Because there was a lady on, I think she was very popular, either on Instagram or YouTube or something. She was a cleaning lady, and she would go to people's homes, and she would make a video saying, okay, if you clean your shower this way, you will clean it really fast, good, and it's going to be beautifully clean. And she did this kind of stuff as a cleaning lady, and then she got a sponsorship from a big brand.
Wow.
Like, I don't remember the brand of the cleaning supplies or whatever, and they sponsored her, yeah? And who would think, she would get a multi-million-dollar contract like that, just being a cleaning lady and showing what she was doing on Instagram or whatever, TikTok, whatever she was doing, and people just draw to her like that, and whatever she was doing, she was so proud, and she was so helpful to other people, to serve other people, to show people how they can do their home cleaning faster, easier, and whatever, better than they knew.
Wouldn't you want to have a cleaner like that?
Yes, exactly. I would hire her, I would like come to clean my house, yeah? Because I think that's what that drive, that passion, that being the owner of your own craft and being the best in your craft, I think that's the best part about it,
Jim Rohn, a personal development life coach.
Yeah,
he
I love his videos.
I love Jim Rohn, and he just recall, I think he said something, because we do not get paid for the time we spend doing our craft. We get paid for the value we bring into that environment. And when you talk about this cleaning lady, the value she brings, the branding she brings with what she does makes you feel special. That's why the best hotels would go and put that personal touch. They will fold, if they're going to clean the room, they'll fold the towels in a certain way. They might even leave a little personal note on there. That is the value you're bringing. Whereas you could just hang the towel up like everybody else. But I've seen the best hotels, they'll put the towel in a certain way. They'll put the bottle of water, they'll write a little note. They will go that little extra mile.
And make you feel special, make you feel important, make you
absolutely.
feel wanted to be there, to
Absolutely.
keep coming and staying in that hotel, So that's such a, it's a craft, it's combination of everything. But our president says that it's not, somebody may be ahead of you, but you don't ever put yourself down, and don't ever doubt your skill. Don't ever put yourself down, because because you compare yourself to somebody's final destination, and you are just starting on the journey. So because I think everybody has a timing of their journey. Sometimes we bring you the opportunity. 2 years ago, you heard exact same words, exact same thing, but you were not interested. You didn't even look at it. But now, today, your situation changed, something changed, your time came, you're ready to hear what that opportunity is about, and you jump on it, So how, because we are in the business of people and serving people. And obviously, in order for us to be successful as dealers in this business, we need to continuously bring people into our business, introduce our business, introduce our opportunity. So how do you do that?
There's a couple of things. Learning starts at birth, and learning ends at death. You've always got to keep on learning. And I'm sure you may have had the same syndrome as many people. When you watch a film, you watch the film once, and you have enjoyed the film. You've understood the whole plot.
Yeah.
When you watch it again, you see something you didn't see the
first time.
When you watch it again, you see something else, and you go, oh, that's why. So repetitive learning is part of what I said, hours and hours of repetitive practice. And you just got to be addicted. You just got to, it's part of being brilliant. And I want to be brilliant. I don't want to be average. I want to be brilliant. So it's that same journey as you've mentioned before. We'll keep picking up things along the way.
And also pitching people, yeah? When we pitch people, we get 1 no, 2 no, 3 no, 4 no, and then we give up, yeah? So is there any science behind pitching, how to become a good pitcher and how to become a good recruiter, team builder, and so on? What you've seen maybe from best practices of the best builders from your years of experience in this business, what are the traits and the tricks of being a good builder?
So I'll answer that too, is being a good builder, but let me go back to your first comment is the most successful people probably hear the most no's because they make the most attempts, and rejection is part of success. So I live by this saying, there is no positive without negative, there is no success without failure. So if we break that down, how would you know what success is if there was no such thing called failure? How would you know what positive is if there was no such? So
negative.
They go hand in hand. And going down to how do you become a big builder, the first thing is you play the numbers game, master your craft, be confident, because in what you're going to say to somebody, if you want to introduce them, let's use our business to our business, you've got to be confident in what I say. So you've got to practice, rehearse, because confidence is attractive. When someone's like, excuse me, I want to tell you about my business. That's not attractive. When somebody is definition, say, hello, hi, sorry to disturb you. My name is Mark. I represent a health and nutrition company. We show people There's something attractive about that confidence that you give. So perfect your craft, whatever it is. But if we're talking about building, perfect it. Be clear on what you're going to say to this person in this environment and what you're going to say to them in that environment. Learn 2 or 3 different cases and go with confidence. Be that professional and do not be afraid of failure. I live by this. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. So if somebody rejects me and I just go, great. That's what successful people go through. That's what I want to go through next.
Exactly. So we were talking today at the training earlier. Ayo says, there is 7 million, I don't know how many million people here in Chicago area, yeah? And you got 10 rejections and you're already afraid to ask anybody else and you're already quitting. You're thinking about quitting, yeah? But there are 6,900,99999 people still out there that you can pitch and you can recruit and you can do. And I think it's not just a Saladmaster, but in any business, in order for you to reach the growth, to reach the success, to reach that confident level of income, you need to build the team. The numbers add up, and you have only 24 hours, but if you have a team, you can have unlimited amount of time in one day. One day, yeah?
And that's business, because you just brought, no matter what business you look at, businesses across the globe, whether it's our business or other business, the success is down to people. People within the business will grow the business. People. So, and you've said it, in the way the Lord made us, we have 24 hours in a day. Only 24. We can't have 25. No matter how, whether you're a king or a queen, you have 24.
Yeah.
But in business, you can have as many hours as you want. Because if I bring you and introduce you to be part of what I class as my journey of my business, 2 people have 48 hours, and we could do 48 hours work in one day. We bring a 3rd person, we could do 72 hours work in one day. So understand that people bring value, bring hours, and it allows you to be successful in business. So love people, help people, and keep training. Hours and hours of skill.
So I think a lot of times also that confidence, that training and all that stuff, but also it depends also on all these, you know, influences that we had over the years. It's very hard to shed that skin off, yeah? Because your parents, society, your teachers, whoever, they put some kind of standard, some kind of way of doing things, you know, like, you know, oh, this is right, or this is wrong, or this won't work, or sales never work, or direct sales never work, or MLM never work, or whatever it is, you know, but they never tried it. But they never been successful in that business. They never been through whatever the steps that all these people are going through. But everybody has their own opinion. How do you clear your mind out of all that?
So one of the things you've got to do is you've got to deal with facts and not emotions. Just because somebody was unsuccessful doing something, that does not mean I'm going to be unsuccessful. So there is a simple rule. Whatever you want to do, if you want to be successful, study success. If you want to be a doctor, study medicine and study the area, study the facts. And one of the facts that I have is that I had a lot of people on my journey tell me, why don't you get a proper job? And I know your uncle did sales and he failed, and this person lost their house and this person lost that. They're giving the opinion on the outcome, not realizing the person that they're speaking about didn't do the correct practices to be successful. So once I understood and I dived into, okay, this is a numbers game, I've got to do the practice and rehearse, I've got to see more people, pitch more people than anybody else, and the numbers will substitute any lack of results. So once I do numbers, be careful of who you're listening to, because the person might care for you, they may love you, but they're not qualified to give their opinion with what you're doing unless they've studied it. So make sure that even if it's your parents, they love you, but if they have not done the research and got the facts, then be careful of listening to them. Be careful of this. I always say, if your car broke down, would you go and see a doctor? No, the doctor's not qualified to tell you about the car. If you injured your arm, would you see your car mechanic? No. Because your car mechanic cannot they're not qualified. Your loved ones, in a lot of cases, not even say in most cases, are not qualified to give their opinion unless they themselves have studied it.
Because I think that's why all these motivational, you know, the interviewing of the rich people, successful people is so popular out there in YouTube and social media and so on, because I think a lot of people are awakening to that idea that you need to study from people that have done it. You need to study from people that are actually successful in business, not from your professor of business in college that never done a single business.
Have they done it?
Yes.
The theory
they
is
haven't done it.
The practical. I want to know, well, how did you succeed? But Eni, when I was young, I had to go to the library, go to encyclopedias. Now we have YouTube, we have Google. Like, I love the podcast. So when I want to achieve something, I go on YouTube and go, success in sales or success in this. And you listen, and not one person, you listen to multiple people, and there will be some key things that everybody says, and you have to be what they are saying. They've done it. They've done it.
A lot of people associate success with money, with car, with house, and so on, the physical stuff. But money is also an energy, yeah? So energy needs to flow. You cannot just save it and hold it in your mattress and you're done, yeah? how do you believe the money energy flows? How are you supposed to make that energy flow properly?
I think there is something special about desiring to live in abundance where you have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, you have to have a heart to give back. And give not for glory, not telling everybody else about, oh, I gave this.
Yes.
And I gave. There's something special when you can give because you can afford to
Yes.
give, but you don't tell anybody. You leave it between you, God, and the individual. There is that feeling, you will sleep so well. So not giving and saying, it was me that helped Mary pay her rent last. Help Mary pay her rent. Don't tell anybody. And there's something special. That's part of the journey. And success again, as much as I feel that we should try and be the best we can be. We should try. A tree will grow and grow and grow until it cannot grow anymore. Humans don't do that. A plant will blossom and blossom and blossom until it can't blossom anymore. Humans don't. We just go, I'm comfortable now, let's stop. No. Max out what God's ability has given you. But success to me is also happiness and fulfilling your purpose that God has you on this earth for.
Yeah.
If somebody is, we spoke about a cleaner earlier, so let me reference that. If somebody's a cleaner and they are happy and they're saying, wow, and they're not complaining, they say, my life is good, thank you, Lord, and they're cleaning, isn't that person successful if they're not complaining?
Yeah.
If they get up every day and they're happy? So there are two sides to success. Success, everyone ties to with money, and it definitely is a sign of success.
Yeah.
But success is also fulfilling your purpose that God has you here, and happiness. If you're happy, I say, well, because I know people with a lot of money and they're miserable.
Yes, yes.
I know some people who haven't got a lot of money, but they're so happy with what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
So living the purpose, living with purpose. Yeah, that's why the name of the podcast is Successful on Purpose.
There you go.
Not just successful to show off to people, to show off your cars and houses, but also successful on purpose, meaning living the purpose, living the God's given talents for others, yeah, and spreading that goodness around you. Whoever touches you gets some kind of miracle out of you. That's, I think.
And there's nothing wrong in having a nice car and
Yeah.
a nice house. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's a scorecard of how well you're doing in your profession. And if you want to enjoy the finer things in life because you've labored and you've worked so hard, there's nothing wrong with that. But with that, have a heart to do something good and give back without telling everybody. So you can have all that, but just make sure that you be a blessing to other people whilst you're enjoying the things that you've worked for. I think someone's worked hard, yes, get a nice car if that's your thing. Buy a nice handbag, but do something from your heart for others.
So you've been in this business now 19 years?
19
years. So
Yeah.
knowing what you know today after 19 years, what would you say to your day one Mark that started with Saladmaster? What would you tell that Mark?
It's a very, because you talk about the day one. In 19 years, I've made a lot of mistakes, Eddie. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've even down to the Mark today is not the Mark 19 years ago. So I'd be telling that Mark 19 years ago a few things that I know now. And if I want to keep it real for the podcast,
Yeah.
I think I had a little bit of arrogance when I was younger. You know, when you're young, you think that
You're the pinnacle of the world.
I think firstly, keep humble. Don't let success go to your head. Don't let failure go to your heart.
Can you please repeat that again?
Don't let success go to your head. Don't let failure go to your heart. I think I'd also tell that Mark of 19 years ago, it's not how much money you make that makes you rich, it's how much you keep. So be careful of your spending. Cash is king, and just because you make a lot of money, that does not make you wealthy. Wealth is a financial philosophy. Wealth is about investing, not just making money and going to the nicest restaurants and So I would tell that Mark, slow down on the spending in my younger years. Make sure you're making investments, and yeah, be a bit humble.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, be a bit humble. That's what I'd probably tell that Mark.
So being humble, being grateful, I think those are like very core also values of successful
Yeah.
people that went through ups and downs,
Yeah.
seen good and bad, and
Yeah.
made a lot of money or made a lot of success in whatever they're doing. So I think that's a very, basic human also core values, I think, too, yeah? What it differentiates us from animals? What differentiates us from, I don't know, from furniture, yeah? Because we are all living some kind of energy, yeah?
Yeah.
But this energy was given to this chair, but I'm alive.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can talk to people. I can change people's lives. I can convince people of certain things, and, animals don't have that ability, yeah? I know they have some certain language they do, yeah? But I think as a humans, we are like extra special and extra higher level out there, yeah? And I feel like sometimes we don't use nearly even half, not even 10% of our own abilities in this life.
Right.
Isn't it?
You're 1,000%.
Sometimes we just drop our head in the sand and just feel like, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm in my comfy zone. I work 9 to 5. I make decent money. I'm okay. And then they just drop, yeah?
That's why I said to you earlier, I love nature. There's so many lessons with nature. And I referenced the tree and the flower. It just blossoms, it grows, until, like, if it was a human, it would be like stretching until you can't stretch anymore.
Yeah.
So we have to do the same thing. We really
Because
have to do the same thing.
if you let the tree grow, it will grow and grow and grow and big and getting bigger and bigger. And as humans, we limit ourselves. I feel like we limit ourselves even more as we get older, yeah?
Yeah.
I think when you are younger, you're bold, you're free-spirited, you're more, inexperienced, but your mind, your ability, you don't limit yourself as much as we do as we get older.
There's another thing, sorry Eni to cut you, there's another thing that when you're on a journey, no matter what that journey is, what's your why? What is your why? Because that will drive you. And I have so many whys. Some of my family, where my dad is from a part of the Caribbean. I was born in the UK, but my dad's one. And my dad was the only one who came to the UK, and he supported so many people, and all on his shoulders. And I watched my dad back home, and I watched him, and he became successful in his own right. And I just said, I want to help my dad to help. Like Martin Luther King, he says, does your why make you cry? When you're on this journey, what is your why? It cannot be, I just want a nice house and a nice car.
Yeah.
What is deeper than that?
Yeah.
And
Something that touches your soul and heart, and you are willing to just,
Eni, I cannot afford to lose, because if I lose, there is a lot of other things that fall down by me losing. I can't afford to lose because I've made commitments, and by me not winning, those commitments will have to suffer. That pains me. So if I get knocked down in it, I'm going to get up and say, let's go again.
Yes. So I think that's why people, it doesn't only affect the work we do, yeah? It doesn't only affect the parents that invest in our product and purchase the product, but it also affects the children, the next generation, next generation, because we teach the family how to eat properly, how to prevent diseases, how to keep yourself healthy, young, and thriving for many, many, many more years, so you can enjoy your kids, so you can see your daughter's wedding, yeah? So you can see your grandchildren. Because now, as I'm getting older, I have so much respect and so much gratitude for every single year that I lived. And when I see an older person, like if they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I'm like, wow, what kind of blessed person you have to be to live to 80, to 90.
Absolutely.
Because it's not a single day is given to us for free.
Yeah.
And we don't even realize that it all can end tomorrow.
Yeah.
And did we really live our life
Yeah.
Did we really fulfill our purpose? Did we really live in that moment?
It's not the years in your life, it's the life in your years. We want good life, we want healthy life.
Yeah.
And I've got many friends who drive some really nice cars, and I have one in mind, I won't call his name.
Yeah.
But when it comes to servicing the car or whatever, he wants the highest grade oil in his car. In the UK, we have like a premium petroleum and a lesser petroleum.
Yeah.
So you could choose, and one's obviously, he wants to put because he has a very expensive car. We will value things like that and put the best lubricant oil and the best petroleum in there. But what about ourselves?
What about our body, our temple that is given to only one temple?
There you go.
Only one.
There you go.
And we forget about taking care of our temple.
There we go.
Yeah?
There we go.
So we should be like babying and polishing and putting the best oil and the best gas and best whatever maintenance that it needs.
You're driving me to an advert now. If you're watching this and you don't know about Saladmaster, Saladmaster protects your food.
Yeah?
Saladmaster will turn your food into natural medicine for your body. If you don't know about Saladmaster, get hold of Eni, because this will turn your food into medicine to nourish your body. Yeah.
2 minutes. Yeah. So somebody's waiting for our space. We are recording live in our hotel lobby, but I think there's another event or something going on, so we need to cut our interview. But I think we talked enough, and I think it's an amazing, time that we. Every interview that I do and every person that I have on the podcast brought something.
Yeah.
Some value, something to think about, some seeds in somebody else's mind, and that's what beauty about technology and everything, that through these kind of interviews we can actually bring our information, bring some kind of value, not only to our dealers and consultants in our business, but people that's out there that don't know about our business, don't know about what we do, and I think they can learn something completely brand new from these interviews. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Mark, again for taking your time and talking to me, and I think it added some value, and really appreciate your time to come to Chicago, teach us, train us, mentor us, and make us better in what we do, the professional and super experts that we need to be in whatever we do. So thank you very much again.
And thank you for your initiative with this to share with other people, so other people can learn. We've always got to be learning, and not just my podcast, but all my session here, but all the other sessions. There's a lot of education. So thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we'll see you again at our next episode with another guest, and I hope you had some kind of value and added some kind of value to your life through these podcasts. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.